Cody Simpson, yeah.
Shut y'all that, you think always missing you. Can I get enough of kissing you? I don't cry, okay, I shed a tear or two on the grind, but girl, ain't no forgetting you, cuz.